Now that we have used VBA to populate our Excel sheet with dummy data, let's start to use the powerful functionality in Excel to manipulate this data. And the functions I want to focus on today are the index and match function. These two features, when used together, are very powerful search tools. They can be used to find the location of a value in a table very quickly. And this is very important when you're working with a large amount of data. Now, I have added 3 more columns to our spreadsheet: a status column, a date column, and an environment column. Eventually, I will populate the status column with the status of the remediation. So we have vulnerabilities. These vulnerabilities are weaknesses. And whenever these weaknesses are remediated or closed out, I want the status to become closed. So that's what we're going to have in the status column. Then the environment column will be populated with the type of environment, and this will be based off of the IP address, whether it's a prod environment, a production environment, a non-production environment, a test environment. So I'm going to have a separate table which will have which environment each IP belongs to, and I'm going to use that to populate this table. So I'm going to show you how you can use index and match to do that. And then in the date column, we're going to make use of if statements, and we're going to make use of conditional formatting. We're going to use the if statements to determine the due date of a vulnerability based on the first discovered date and the severity. And we're going to use the conditional formatting to highlight a cell when the date is due in less than a week. Now let's copy over column D to another tab, which we will call the environment tab. So let's make the environment tab first. Remember how to make the environment tab. You click on the plus sign, then you right click on the new sheet, hit the rename button, rename it. Okay. Now I want to copy over all the values in column D, but I only want to copy over the unique values. So I don't want to copy over any duplicates. There are 2,000 values here. By the way, you see how you want to know how I jump from the top to the bottom very quickly? I just use the downward arrow key and the control key. So if you hit the control key, you hold it down and you hit the downward arrow key, you'll jump to the bottom. If you hit the control key and you hit the upward arrow key, you jump to the top. Now, if you hit the control key and the shift key and the downward arrow key, you will select everything all the way to the bottom. So just a few tricks of the trade, okay? Let me jump back to the top. Now I'm going to copy all the contents of column D to the environment tab. I'm going to use the advanced copy found in the data tab. So if you come to the data tab and you click on advanced copy, then click on copy to another location. Do what I just taught you. Click on the top column, Control Shift, and hit the arrow key all the way to the bottom. Then you make sure you click on unique records only, click on the copy to, then go to the environment tab, select the row and click OK. Oh, what happened? You get you can only copy filtered data to the active sheet. So this is an annoying error that a lot of people get. And the reason is you are supposed to start this copy procedure from the destination sheet, not from the sheet you're copying from. That's why you're getting that error. So let me go to the environment tab. And now that I'm in the environment tab, I'll click on data, then I'll click on advanced, then I'll click on copy to another location. I'll click on unique. Then when I click on list range, I will go back to sheet 1 and do what we just talked about. You click on the top, Control Shift, arrow all the way down. Then you go to your copy to location. Then you go back, it takes you back to environment automatically. You select the first row, you click OK, and now it copies. You get it? And if you look here, is there 2,200 rows? No, there's only 101. That's because it only copied the unique data to this tab. So that's how you copy unique data from one sheet to another. You could also filter the data in place using the same advanced section, right? They have the ability to filter the list in place, but we use the copy to another location. Now that we have everything copied, we're just going to put in some dummy data here, right? So we're going to put in production. So some of them are going to be non-production. Some of them are going to be sandbox. Some will be UAT. Okay. Now I've just done this randomly, so let's spread this throughout. So I come to the lower right corner and drag this all the way down. And you can see it recognizes the pattern and just keeps dropping it over and over again. So production, non-prod, sandbox, UAT. Production, non-prod, sandbox, UAT. So I've created this dummy data for environment. And now I want to use the index and match functions to paste in the environment value on each row. Now you may ask, why do I need to do this? Well, this comes in handy in situations where you have two different data sets and you're using a common value to pull in additional values. So in our case, we have our data set of vulnerabilities. And then there's another data set that includes the environment. And on both data sets, they both have IP addresses. So let's say maybe you got the environment from somebody else and you have your vulnerability data. So you want to put all that information on this table, but you don't want to enter it manually. So what you'll do is you'll search for IP address, which is the common value on the other table, and then pull in the environment that is related to that IP address. So that's where index and match come in handy. Now to do it, the first thing you do is you start off with match. So equals match, open bracket. Your lookup value is the IP address. That's the common value that is in both data sets. Then you hit comma. Then your lookup array is the location that you want to search. So that's in the environment tab. You select that whole array. Then you hit comma. And because you want to do an exact match, you hit 0, or you type 0, and then you close the bracket. You see the number 2 here. So what do you see on number 2? Come to the environment tab and look at what's on number 2. Number 2, the IP address 123.456.789.16. Come back to sheet. 123.456.789.16 is located on number 2. So what the match does is it shows you the row number for the lookup value. That comes in very handy. So you give it a lookup value and it tells you what row number it's located. If it's located in multiple row numbers, it'll show you the first one. Now I want to use this same row number to be able to find out what environment is related to that row number. So I come back here. Now in front of a match, I type index, open bracket, and then I go to the environment to select the array. And this time I'm going to select the entire array to IP address and environment. Select it all the way to the bottom. Hit comma. The next thing I need to enter is the row number. But I already have that from this command. This match D2 environment gives me the row number. So I don't need to do anything there. So all I have to do is hit comma. And then it wants a column number. In this case, I want the column B, which is the second column, because I want to get the value related to the IP address, the environment value related to that IP address. Now I hit enter, and you see, now it says production. So 123.456.789.16, which I know is in row 2, it gives me production, all right? And now all I need to do is drag this all the way to the bottom. All right, so there's something going wrong. The data at the bottom is wrong. Look at the range. A2199 to B2299. So on the environment tab, it's out of range, essentially. It's going to A2199, but my last data is at A101. So something happened. So this is another new concept I have to teach you in Excel. And that is, in Excel, when you sort of drag things down, it uses a pattern. It identifies a pattern and starts to repeat the pattern. So in our case, it's identifying that you started with A1B01. So that means the next time you want A2 to B102. But actually, that's not the case. You don't want to change the range. You want the range to be exactly the same always. You don't want it to change. So in Excel, to make sure that the range doesn't change, and you see the next one is A3 to B103, A4, we use the $sign. So what I should do in here is I put a $sign here and a $sign there. And I'm essentially saying I want to lock that number. I don't want it to change. I don't want the pattern to change, right? All right. Now I drag it to the bottom. And let's see what happens down at the bottom. All right, there you go. No more errors, right? Because down at the bottom, you see, it's now A1 to A101, whereas before it was giving me some range above 2000, which was wrong. So troubleshooting helps you learn what's going on. There's going to be a lot of troubleshooting in Excel, so get used to seeing these type of errors, okay? So there you go. We've pulled in all the environment data related to each of these IP addresses using index and match.